start. There is merit in this point of view, and the experience of the past year gives ground for confidence that we can unify the exchange rate and still manage the balance of payments with a reasonable degree of stability in the exchange rate. The government has therefore decided to eliminate the dual rate arrangement. All exporters as well as other foreign exchange earners, such as our workers abroad, will henceforth be allowed to convert 100% of their earnings at the market rate. The details of the new system are being notified separately by the Reserve Bank of India. I expect that this will give a major boost to exports and will further encourage foreign exchange flows into official channels. Several other steps are also being taken to stimulate exports. The Commerce Ministry is reviewing the list of items whose exports are subject to one or other restriction with a view to removing as many restrictions as possible. Reserve Bank of India is taking steps to ensure that adequate credit will be available for exports. Banks have already been asked to ensure that export credit amounts to at least 10% of their total advances. The interest rate on rupee export credit is being reduced by 1 percentage point. As a further measure of support for exports, the interest tax will be waived in the case of export credit from banks. I will have more to say on incentives for exporters when I come to the tax proposals in the budget. A new policy towards foreign investment has been an integral part of our strategy of modernizing the economy and establishing global linkages, which will be of critical importance in the emerging world economy. I have already mentioned that the initiatives taken in this area thus far have yielded encouraging results. I have no doubt that as our reforms proceed and gain momentum, we can expect to attract a substantial share of the private investment that is presently flowing to many developing countries in Asia. The government has signed the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency Convention, and we expect to join it formally as soon as membership procedures are completed. Several countries, including the United Kingdom, Germany, and the United States, have expressed an interest in signing bilateral investment treaties. The government has indicated a willingness to enter into bilateral negotiations on this issue. Industrial modernization and especially the creation of internationally competitive industries requires a massive expansion of and qualitative improvement in infrastructure. This is especially true of power generation, telecommunications, and roads. Traditionally, these areas have been the preserve of the public sector. Substantial expansion of public investment in these areas is certainly necessary. However, the needs of the country as far beyond the capacity of the public sector to deliver in a reasonable time frame. The government has therefore adopted a policy of encouraging private sector involvement and participation in these areas to supplement the efforts being made by the public sector. In order to attract such investment, it will be necessary to make changes in policies, procedures, and the regulatory framework in these sectors. The government proposes to make such changes as the need arises. We have tried to maintain strict control over expenditure, but certain increases over the budget estimates were unavoidable. An additional provision of rupees 1500 crore has to be made for food, fertilizer, and export subsidies. The additional requirement of food subsidy is because of the delay in increasing issue prices to absorb the impact of higher procurement prices. The higher provision for export subsidy is because of settlement of claims in the pipeline for cash compensatory support and continuance of benefits for deemed exports. In respect of fertilizers, the increase is due to the reduction in prices of urea and higher input costs. In addition, I have provided rupees 340 crore as one-time assistance to farmers for purchase of fertilizers whose prices were decontrolled. Ministry of Home Affairs has to be provided additional funds for meeting security related expenditure in the wake of disturbed conditions in certain parts of the country. While an assessment of the actual requirements is being made, I have for the present included in the revised estimates an additional provision of rupees 285 crore. If a further provision becomes inescapable, we shall come to the House for the necessary supplementary grants. These and other increases have been offset by a reduction of rupees 1300 crore in the requirements for loans to states against small savings collections. The decline in small savings collections has been a matter of concern, and government has taken measures to improve the rate of return to the investors. As an end result, we see the collections are showing an uptrend in recent months. Stop.